Roger, give me that gun run. Right along that back, baby. Aim hot. Clear hot.
Ladies, gents, how's it going? Random Gary here, aka Gary Prout. If you don't know, I'm a British Gallantry recipient. I received the nation's second highest award for gallantry back in 2010, and I've been reacting to multiple acts of gallantry, their stories on YouTube, and giving a bit of my narrative on it. The response has been incredible, and over the last couple of weeks especially, guys, I really appreciate all of the likes, all of the comments. The Saving Private Ryan video has been by far my most successful video in this short space of time, so thank you once again. A quick update. So I actually reacted to the artillery, one of the artillery scenes from an Australian movie called Danger Close. Sadly, they've hit me with a copyright. It's not a full-on strike. They've just held the copyright with it, and it's so much. If I was to take it out of the video, I don't think it would make sense anymore. The thing that I can understand is their clip. I think it's only 4 minutes 6 seconds long, and my video lasts for like 16 minutes. So I think it goes to show that I'm not just piggybacking off the content that they've created. I put a lot into that there. I talk technically and tactically about the application of artillery in the danger close manner. Fingers crossed. I've reached out to them trying to have a human-to-human conversation rather than a conversation over YouTube with copyright banners and all of that kind of stuff. So just trying to be a little bit human. Fingers crossed I can get that video to you, because I think it's really... I think I just sing their praises, if I'm honest. I think they done a cracking job with the movie, and I want more people to watch it. Today we're going to be reacting to Ronald Ray, who was a first lieutenant in the U.S. Army. This is from Vietnam in 1966. All of those years ago, June 1966. Let's check out his story. Let's see what happened to Ray. Mr. Ray.
Childhood was interesting in the fact that we were what they call today migrant farm workers. A lot of people thought that was a very strenuous life for kids, but it taught me a lot of values. Talking to my mother actually yesterday, just before coming up here, and she always begrudges the fact that we had to travel like that and do all the work we did. And I hug her and kiss her and say, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, was the fact that I learned at a very early age to work with people, to understand that a good day's work, there's nothing bad wrong with it.
I used to work on a farm, so my dad used to help out a local farmer with odd jobs, and whenever I was waiting to get into the military, because I'm from Northern Ireland, there's a 12-month wait for you to go through all of your security clearance checks, just to make sure that there is no security risk of you being involved in some of the jobs that you do. So yeah, it took a year, and I went and worked on a farm. It was fantastic. It was cattle, sheep, and we did a lot of kind of growing as well. So I learned exactly what a hard day's work was, what minimal hours of sleep was. It was like he says, it's a great foundation, great base.
Ronald Ray left high school in 1959 to enlist in the Army. After serving a 3-year tour, he re-enlisted to become a member of the U.S. Army Special Forces. By June of 1966, Ray was in charge of a platoon with the 35th Infantry, operating in the Yadrang Valley. They were part of a larger operation intended to stop the North Vietnamese from entering Vietnam from Cambodia.
And basically what we were trying to do is set listening posts and outposts along the Cambodian border to monitor infiltration of North Vietnamese troops into the central highlands of Vietnam. And so I'd set up about 3 listening posts along my sector. We went out on a patrol one day, and we captured one guy, and I had to shoot another one. And I never forget when I went over and rolled his body over and started searching the body to see what was on it. It was only one thing on his whole body, and that was a little fold out, like a little billfold. And on one side of it was a picture of a lady, and on the other side was a picture of a kid. And that to me brought back to me, you know, what war is all about. I mean, it's actually, and that's something we all have to think about as individuals in life, is that the fact is, war is an inhumane act.
It's a fascinating point, something that really sings out to me, because ultimately you are fighting other humans. You are fighting and trying to kill another human before they kill you. I think that's the wrong. I was going to say I'm quite lucky, but I think that's the wrong way to phrase it. I don't see anybody who I was fighting as being human in my sense, because there was just a complete disregard for human life, a complete lack of respect for human life. And to me, whenever you're at that point where you don't respect human life, you don't respect individuals, you don't respect what you're doing to human beings, I think at that point you fail to be human. I think what being human is caring, it's compassion, it's empathy towards other people. It's setting aside that tribalism and just being willing to do the right thing at the right time. And whenever you don't have that, you fail to be human. And I understand it must have been really tough for some of the Falklands War guys. They've met up with the Argentinians who they were fighting against since the war, and they share stories. They know each other's families, and to me that must be very difficult. I can't imagine a point where I'll be meeting up with any of my enemies' families. I cannot see it happening. They don't have any. They're not human. Nah, I'm only joking.
And it takes the lives of the most precious asset, and that's our young. After about the third or fourth day, we discovered a number of large trails being cut within my sector. I had the suspicion of being an old country boy that there was something going to happen in my sector, and I kept telling the company commander, who was in the lower part of the I drain, and he was totally convinced, no, it wasn't going to happen where I was at, it was going to happen where he was at, like he had did the year before in '65. So what I did do, though, I beefed up one listing post where the big trails were being cut along the stream bed and trail crossings, and I sent out a patrol that went along that area. And I told the patrol to stay there with that listening post that day. I just felt something was going to happen. And sure enough, that outpost got surrounded. I got a call saying we're pinned down and we can't break contact. So I had a decision. I called my company commander, called everybody, said I need reinforcements. They still said it's just a minor probe. I said, no, I don't think it is. It's a big push, and I'm going to get my troops.
How do you assess it? It's such a difficult one, and what I'm hearing Ronald Ray talking here is about that gut feeling, that instinct that he's had there was presence of the abnormal. There was the lines were being cut. It had lots of kind of ingress routes. You haven't physically seen the enemy. You can't physically see how many of them are coming, but you've got enough there for you to make the assessment that this is going to be a sustained, prolonged push. And you can go one of two ways, and this might sound really kind of crass. So one, you can put extra troops in there, and you can hope that you're putting enough troops in to turn the tide. And actually, that this was not guaranteed in Vietnam. There's lots of cases where our troops, and whenever I say our troops, I mean like the Australians, there was some British out there, the Americans. Our troops were heavily outnumbered. The North Vietnamese could just amass huge amounts of troops on the ground, and they could move very quickly. They were very light, very agile. So are you reinforcing that position just for additional people to get killed? Reinforcing failure, as we would say it. So you might reinforce it and get lucky. You might reinforce it and end up just reinforcing failure. And it's a horrible call for any commander to take. Thankfully, a position where I've never been in. I've had friends who have been in positions similar, and it doesn't always turn out well.
And we took off through the jungle, heading toward the location. We had to fight our way into them. And so we broke through the lines, got to my unit that was surrounded. Sure enough, I had one guy hit in the head. Vincent Mueller was shot in the head. We were trying to do something with him. And by that time, we had a machine gun or two putting a lot of directed fire on us. And I tried to get a squad to move in to knock out the machine gun. And the guys moved in and got pinned down. Only thing to do then was somebody had to get rid of the machine gun before it started killing all my troops. So I moved forward and knocked out the machine gun and 4 or 5 people with a shotgun and some grenades.
Moments later,
he's playing that down, isn't he? He moved forward. From the sounds of it, he moved forward with a shotgun, a couple of grenades, and he achieved what basically the whole platoon could not achieve. I'm not going to say failed to achieve, but what the platoon field was unrealistic to achieve. They got pinned down for a reason. Troops don't just stop for no reason. They got absolutely pinned. They got melted by that machine gun, and he managed to move forward and to take it out with shotgun, which it's pretty decent in this kind of instance. But shotgun versus machine gun rates of fire, you know, in this kind of close, complex terrain, I would be on the machine gun all day, every day, if you give me the choice.
several of Ray's comrades were trying to evacuate the wounded when they, too, got pinned down. Ray went to their rescue, killing the attacking enemy, but not before they shot him in the legs.
And just turned around at that time, and I still was able to move. And they lobbed another grenade in next to two of my individuals, my radio operator and Vincent. And I yelled at them, but they didn't. They didn't move. So I was already hit, so I dove in between, covered their bodies, and then I got some more grenades in the legs. There was no question to me, and never has been. My life was not near as worth as any one of those. If there had to be someone to die that day, it was going to be me, not them.
So it's a theme that comes up time and time again, is this thing of selfless commitment. What does selfless commitment mean? And to me, it's a recognition that the mission, you have to achieve the mission first, then your mates, and then myself. It's those 3 M's: my mission, my mates, myself. And if you get that in the right order, then you're absolutely achieving this selfless commitment piece. It's remarkable, isn't it? Because in civilian life and in life outside, we're so self-centered. We want to know what's the benefit for us. We want to know what are we going to get out of all of the hard work we are putting in. Yet, whenever the stakes are at their highest, whenever the metal is hitting the meat, we flip that on its head. And I'm whenever I say in civilian street, I mean I'm guilty of this year. I have a lot of kind of self-interest in Civvy Street. I want to be recognized for the work I do. I want to receive money. I want to receive promotion. But in the military, where the metal was meeting the meat, I was the complete flip side. I suppose it all comes down to purpose. If you feel passionate enough about what you're there to do and why you're doing it, your selfless commitment goes through the roof and your self-interest just drops. Am I willing to put my mission first, then my mates, and then myself? Such a common theme.
Still receiving fire from one area. Pulled myself over and took the last 2 grenades I got and flew in on those guys and got rid of them. Then it was something else. Just totally peace. Not one shot.
I'm feeling a strange vibe from Ronald Ray. I'm feeling somebody who's almost distanced themselves from the situation. I'm feeling somebody who's talking about an experience, but they're not. They're reliving it. And my belief now, so this isn't what I'm witnessing. My belief is it's probably still quite tough for him to talk about. It's probably still an emotive subject. It's probably still something that he feels he needs to share, because lots of Medal of Honor recipients talk about this. They're custodians of the medal. Therefore, they need to tell a story to keep other people's memories alive. There's lots of people involved. And for him to get through it, for him to do it, he almost has to distance himself for it. So it's almost as if he's reading a script, and he's very blasé about the things he done, and rather than telling the truth about what he done, because it's probably difficult for him to talk about. He shouldn't have lived. What do you think? Comment below. Is he reliving this story as he's telling it, or is he putting in a bit of a blocker there, a bit of a wall to protect himself? I hope he's okay. I genuinely hope that he's reliving this year and these are the memories he has, but I get the feeling it isn't. What do you think? Let me know below.
Couldn't hear anything. And there we were. Everything just seemed to stop. So it started picking up, and I realized then I couldn't move. My legs were, I was paralyzed from waist down. So I said, okay, this is no problem. I said, you guys get everything up, get up, leave me the shotgun and 2 things, and get going. And so they all started packing up. I never forget, they all get up and they started running, finally started running. He said, what are you saying? I said, get on out of here. He said, what do you mean get out of here? I said, I'll cover you, just get out of here, don't worry about it. He said, no sir, I'm taking you with me. He said, okay, we're the last 2 out. So everybody took out and he picked me up and put me across his shoulder and he carried me down the hill. Pretty neat, pretty neat. The troops on the ground wanted me to get the highest award. It was presented by President Nixon. It was a moving ceremony, it really was. It was definitely one of the top events in my life. But the truth of it is, it was being able to be honored by my country for doing what I should do. You know, I didn't do anything more than what everybody should do. I mean, if you're a leader.
He did more than everybody did. You'd like to think it's not more than anybody would want to do. I wanted to do so much for my country. I was quite happy to do it, but the truth is not everybody is willing to do it. So we should recognize people like Ronald Ray.
And you're entrusted with the leadership of human beings and so forth. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lead them best you can, fight the battle the best you can, but you should protect them the best you can. And that's all I did, is protect my troops.
Superb story there from Ronald Ray. What do you think? I'd love to know if you were seeing the same things there. I actually think that I heard to hear him start to tell his story whenever he talked about what we would call the investiture. I'm not sure what you guys call it. Would it be an award ceremony? I think we started to hear from the real Ronald Ray there, the person reliving it, re-experiencing it. Maybe a little bit of emotion creeping in whenever he was talking about being a leader and looking after his troops. Unbelievable stuff, once again. Ladies, gents, thanks for checking in. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll try to get danger close to you ASAP once I have that human conversation. And I'll see you in the comment section below. Have a good one. Goodbye.